Hello, it's me again for the second time. A whole 2 day in a row streamer. Incredible. Um, okay, plan for today is to. Oh my god, I should put it on it's in the title. Uh, to make a state machine of what I plan the player controller to do. Because yesterday, um, we looked at kind of the main idea for the game, inspiration, stuff like that. And then we started this kind of player controller slide to what I had thought would be shorter, but it turns out there's quite a lot here, which is what I intended, but it's kind of different when you look at a wall of text to see, like, right, yeah, this is kind of hard to parse. So instead of just listing it all out and then being sad that I have to, like, imagine what the player state machine looks like, we're just going to draw it out today. So that's the plan. Um, Yesterday as well, I was having some trouble with what I wanted out of the secondary attack. Uh, Camera, look at the camera sometimes. But I think I've thought about it more. I just let my like subconscious turn it over or whatever, which is code for I didn't really think about it, but I woke up with good ideas, which is always fun. Okay, and so what I want out of secondary attack is it's going to be when you're moving on the ground, you can slide and you can hold the button to just slide on the ground on your belly like a penguin. Yet again, ripping from Mario 64. And then when you're standing still, it's going to be actually let's back up a second. So when you dive, you're going to dive forward with your hands out in front of you. So the plan is that will also be a physical attack. I also made my camera a little wider, but you still can't really see my arms, to be honest. The dive will be an attack just like a punch, but instead of just like blowing away the enemy, you're going to grab something from them. The enemies in this game are going to be all like non-humanoid. They're going to be like crystal based, like very prism themed, because it fits with the mechanics, but also in parentheses, I'm bad at art, and this will be easy to make. Like this kind of thing. Hold on, I was making the intro setting up stream, so all my brush settings are out of whack. Like this sort of thing, just like a triangle. So the dive will be like you crash into the crystal and it explodes, but you grab like a shard of it out of its core or something. So in those sort of situations, you'll end up holding, I don't have it, you'll end up like holding a big hunk of crystal. So that'll be like a different sort of half of the state graph. And so yesterday I was kind of not enthused about grabbing because it was a little overwhelming thinking of like, oh, do you hold it with both hands? Can you hold one thing or two things? Can you hold one? Do you get to choose which hand you're holding in? And it kind of complicated the idea of like, oh, you're a player who punches things and you go fast and you punch things to go fast and you punch. But holding things in your hand kind of complicates punching things. So what I landed on was you dive into something, it explodes, and you hold a crystal chunk, and you just hold it in your left hand. Like you don't get to choose. It's just in your left hand, and now you have some more options available to you. A couple, not really downsides, but a couple changes to how punches will be made. But we'll talk about that when I start making the state diagram. And so that gives a lot of like design space for like, oh, what kind of things can you hold? What kind of things can you throw? What kind of things can you like smash into another enemy and what happens? There's a lot more room for putting fun stuff in the game when you can hold things. So that's the dive. You run into something, you crash into it, you grab something out of it. If you hold dive and you are diving forward, you will penguin slide. It's just it's straight up ripping out of Mario 64. And I think, you won't be able to really move that much when you're doing that. It'll be kind of like you're on ice, essentially. So that'll be fun because it'll give again some more design space for like, okay, now it actually matters if the world is not flat, right? Putting slopes in the world will give you more opportunity to like, oh, what if I slide down this slope? Like, what can I get out of that? And so that should be fun. Or maybe like, oh, can I slide under certain enemies? Like maybe some enemies levitate like, a meter off the ground where it's like, okay, I mean, I could crash into it or I could like slide under it. So again, just more options, more kind of variety. Let's see. So that is grounded dive. Right. Another thing was what happens if you dive but you're standing still? Like, what does that combination do? I think it's just going to be like a clap because I think one of the visions that I had in my head yesterday was related to grabbing things. Like if you could grab an enemy, grab a big hunk of crystal and just like crush it between huge gauntlets. That seems like it could be super satisfying. So that was a vision I really wanted to keep. And so this, I think, will keep it there. So if you try and dive when you're not moving, you'll just like, I hope that didn't peak the microphone. I did check the VOD and I was kind of peaking it yesterday. So, we're making improvements slowly. So yeah, when you dive, when you're standing still, it'll just be a clap. And again, more design space because all of a sudden you have a player who is presumably very strong, wearing like huge gauntlets, and they clap. That's going to be loud. It's going to be so loud. And so maybe there's room for like, oh, maybe some enemies will aggro on you from far away if you clap. And you can use it to like distract certain enemies that maybe are inconveniently placed. Or it could get the attention of some NPCs that are like kind of in the distance. And maybe we can hide some secret interactions there. Like one vision that would be so much work for like a 3-second interaction, but I think would be so, so cool, is you see like a swordsman in the distance. And there's no really terrain to get to the swordsman. But you can look at him. He's, sitting cross-legged on a rock somewhere, just kind of meditating. Sword in his lap. You can't see my arms. But imagine I have a sword. And you really interrupt what he's doing. And he looks at you, and then you just look at him. He like unsheaths his sword and like dives at you with it. And he just like pierces the camera. And it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't interrupt this dude. He seems like quite the angry fellow. But what if you like clap at the right time, and so you see like the blade, like you catch the blade if you clap at the right time, and then you can just punch this guy out. I think that would be so fun. Again, it's so much work for an interaction that'll be maybe 5 seconds long, but that's just like another opportunity for something that would be sick. And really, like, having a clap in the game, I don't have to put the extra stuff, but the fact that there is opportunity to put the extra stuff, I think will make it worth it. Okay, so that is, all right, the second part of that is the vision I was talking about. You crush a skull, not a skull. That is a really funny slip up. A crystal in your hands when you clap. We'll just fit that in if you're already holding something. You're standing still, you try and clap, it just explodes in your hands. That seems fun. And again, another opportunity for like, okay, maybe this is a remote control for something. Or maybe there's like a wireless explosive, I don't know. There's all sorts of things you can hook up to like a remote detonation of that sort. Okay, hold on, I need to cough, and I don't want to cough in your ears. Okay. Conf complete. So what else is there? So we talked about dive. We talked about crashing into stuff, grabbing a core out of them. There's more to talk about when you're holding something, but we'll maybe talk about that next. Talked about clapping when you're standing still, when you're holding something. Just some interactions you could have when you clap in general. What else is there? What else did I think about? I think that is a lot of it. Oh, right. Okay. So diving and jumping don't really interact too much, I don't think. The exception to that is when you are holding something. So that is where grab becomes, I think, more relevant for a lot of players, is when you're holding something. There's more interactions when you're in the air. I guess when you're grounded too. Because when you're holding something, a natural inclination is like, oh, can I chuck this thing as hard as I can? And the answer I want is to be yes. And so we're going to give the player the option of, like, when they're holding something, if they're charging a punch, instead of releasing the punch and, you know, going forward into the normal charge punch, they can click the dive button instead, and they'll just essentially convert the charge that would have been a punch into throw power. And they will just freaking send this thing, whatever they're holding, where they're looking. And there's a couple side effects that I want from this. One is, if you're in the air and you're charging up a throw and you launch this thing, I want it to launch you back. I want there to be knockback from this thing that you're chucking. So it gives you an option in the air, if you're holding something, to change your velocity. That was something that we talked about yesterday, and I deleted the image already, but at least on this thing, is there wasn't a good way to change your velocity in midair that I liked. The thing that we could have pulled from Mario 64 is like, oh, when you click dive in the air, you will just like if you're going this way, you can dive and instantly transfer your momentum that way. I didn't really like that. It felt like, it's going to sound bad, but it felt like you had too much control. It almost felt like there was no real reason to ever strafe if you could just dive, right? Like if you could just change your in-air momentum on a dime like 90 degrees that way. It just seems like it's taking a lot of skill out of the game. I don't know. The game doesn't exist yet. There is no skill at the game. But I mean, I don't know. It's just a vibe I got. This is vibe-based game design, if that wasn't abundantly clear. So I didn't really like that. So the compromise, and what I think would be cooler, is if you're just holding something, you throw it away. You don't have this thing anymore. But you can essentially consume that, throw it, and then launch yourself in the other way. And there's, of course, kind of more interactions here, too. We talked about, like, destroying something when you clap. If you're holding it, you could do, I don't know, some remote triggers with it. Or maybe it's just like a short speed up, kind of the big draw of the game, which we went over a little bit yesterday, was like the primary inspiration was like you're in a chase sequence and you're destroying these like crystals that are left behind, and it makes you go faster. It's like how a rhythm game, the beats come towards you on like a static line, and you press buttons and it boop, and you clear the level by nailing each beat as it hits the bottom line. This is kind of like putting that in the real world, but instead of the beats moving towards you, like you're moving towards the beats. So you need to like run as fast as you can. You need to destroy as many, beats or crystals as you can. It'll speed you up and you can catch like the antagonist or whatever. And so that speed up when you destroy something, or maybe it applies to destroying this crystal in your hand. Where did it go? Okay. Right, so that throwing something, you could destroy it in your hands, get a little speed up. You could throw it at another enemy and maybe it destroys both the thing you threw and the enemy and gives you speed up. Or you could throw it like straight at the ground and then kind of rocket jump in a way. Like that would be fun too. Or maybe you like, so in the air, the plan is you can punch normally if you're not holding anything. And you can also do like a down air, which is both fists down. And if you hit the ground while you're doing that, it's a little ground slam. And otherwise, you can bounce off an enemy and spike them straight down. There's a lot of kind of interactions there. And it's here. But the main point is if you're holding something, maybe you can like dunk it on something. Like you two-hand, I'm holding this crystal and I just slam it straight down. I think that could be so much fun. Like you could have some enemies that are maybe pretty hardy and don't like you clap and you can't destroy this thing, but you can maybe run up a ramp, jump off a cliff and like slam it into the ground and it just shatters. This piece of like indestructible crystal that you've been struggling to destroy, it just shatters under the weight of like you and 50 feet of gravity. I think that could be so much fun. Let's see. Right, some other thing that I was reminded of is kind of why wouldn't you hold an item all the time? It seems like it's only exclusively better to be holding an item. It just gives you more options. And I think the drawback would be kind of the obvious one, which is like one of your hands is occupied. So you can, the plan was to have like a left punch. That was my right hand, by the way. A right punch and a left punch. And you can kind of chain them together. And each punch will have, a cooldown. You can't punch like infinitely quickly, of course. So the closer together enemies are, you'll have to chain them together. And so chaining together is just really pressing the punch button over and over again. The player will, the game will automatically swap between right and left, depending on if you're on cooldown or not. And so holding an item in your left hand will mean essentially the frequency you can punch at is halved, because you only have the one hand to punch. I don't think I want holding an item and punching. That kind of behavior I think would come from diving when you're holding something, similar to when you're down airing and you're slamming this big hunk of crystal into the ground. When you dive with something in your hands, in the same motion that you're like, the normal dive is, straightforward, hands in front of you, you would be like holding this thing and diving forward. And so maybe you can crash into another enemy and explode it like that. Okay. That is my conclusion, I don't know, on what I wanted the grab to do. So it gives you to kind of sum it up, gives you a penguin slide where you can be shorter and slide like on ice and give slopes a reason to exist in the game. You can grab things, and having an item gives you some in-air mobility. It gives you a ranged option, which I literally didn't even talk about that much. I think I mentioned it offhand. But it gives you a ranged option, which did not exist before now. And then it gives you some... That's really kind of it. You can kind of squeeze rocket jumping in there, but that's... Yeah. Okay, so this is quite an expansive player controller. So I think today I wanted to model this whole thing as a state diagram and just see what it looks like. See, hold on, I have some things on my clipboard. I kind of wanted to look at how we talked about throwing. I put some notes on here. Talking about throwing, punching at half speed, charge and dive to throw. Yep. Right. I wanted to also look at what kind of options you had if you are currently penguin sliding. Like, how do you get back onto your feet? Like, what does that behavior look like? My kind of assumption was if you were sliding, you must be holding down the dive button, because that's just how I thought about it. So if you just let go of the dive button, then I don't know, you get back to your up to your feet. But there's options to, like, if you're penguin sliding with something in your hand, you can, like, I don't know, slam it into the ground. I don't know. There's options. I think I will just go with you let go of the button and you get up. That seems the easiest. But as far as the state machine goes, I wanted to look at, like, one, how does each state interact with the ground, like the wall, slopes, enemies? Like, what happens if you are diving and you dive into a wall? Does anything happen? Anything special? Or do you, I don't know, maybe you just stop? Do you do like a funny, like, oof, ouch? I don't know. That's something we should look at. What can the player do in each state? Like, does the player control transitions to new states? Is there like an opportunity to do something new? Like we talked about yesterday, kind of Mario 64's double and triple jump, where when you're about to hit the ground, you can jump again and you'll do a higher jump. Like, what can the player do in each state that maybe advances them to a new state of their choosing? And then something else to think about is, do these states like auto end? Are they on a timer? Can the player be forced out of different states, forced into different states? So thinking about, like, is there opportunity for you to get knocked up into the air, or you're currently sliding and maybe something explodes next to you? Like, what happens if you get launched into the air while you're sliding? Do you keep? Are you still horizontal in the air? What happens? Those are all things to consider. But I need to use the bathroom, so you're just gonna have to ponder that for a moment while I do that. Okay. Something else that I'm not don't remember if I said was, like, we also need to think about how fast the player is moving in each of these states, because that it might matter. Okay, and I will put charge, grab, throw. I think this is another main item. Okay, I'm going to erase this. I think I can safely erase these, because we're going to essentially produce a bigger version of that. Okay. So there will be kind of two halves to this. I'm going to kind of do the most spaghetti version of this state machine you can get. And then we'll see if we can decompose it into separate machines later. So what I mean by that is, like, we can have when you're just standing still, and then what I'm going to do is a separate state for the same behavior, of you're just standing still. Whoops, hold on. But holding something. So when I'm actually making the game, there is a temptation, and it might work, to put this as like a sub, not as a new set of entire states, but instead just as like a is holding something. So you'll keep the same kind of state machine, but you'll just have this like extra bit of state kind of kept around, that will essentially change what you do change what code runs in each state, which might be shorter to write, might not be. I don't know. We'll see. Oops. That's kind of the exercise. Well, we can move that into text. Okay. I'm also tempted to do this in a different software too, because I think Photopea is fine, but I think this TLDraw might be easier. Yeah, because we've got like an infinite board, and does it? No. Okay, perfect. I've got an infinite board, and just better. It's just easier. Okay. We will just put them here. Rounded. So this is as close to an idle state as we can get. Okay, nice. So what can the player do here? We have a couple buttons to push. So what is the circle button? That's a rectangle. You got other shapes? You do have other shapes. Circle. Okay. Yeah, why not? No way it defaults to rectangle when I hotkey it. That's crazy, right? Why? No way. E for ellipse? No, E for eraser. No. Okay, we're just gonna use rectangles then, because that's the only hotkey that works. And I think these move with the... Yeah, okay, that's nice. Okay. So we're just gonna do jump first. So this will be in air. We will try and keep... Dude, my keyboard shortcuts are so sick. Please, I'm begging you. Okay. We will keep this as the one... How do I move you? I am getting used to this. I'm not going to freak out because it's not behaving how I want it to. I would never. Okay, this is our in-air state. There will be a number of ways to get here. So does it matter if you are falling or rising? I don't think it does. I don't think anything we talked about is related to whether you are moving up or moving down in the air. So I think we're chilling with just that. We'll group those. Okay, we can group these. Okay, there is another state for... We will call this grounded moving. What? What is happening here? Okay, there we go. We'll call this grounded moving. So the reason we have two separate states for this is we have like the grab and clap will be when you're moving slowly or not moving at all. Because when you're moving, that same button will throw you into a dive. So there is a reason. To separate them. Can I like attach you to this arrow? Is that something I can do? Whoop. I don't think it is. That's unfortunate. Okay. I'll just have to not move them around that much. So when you're moving, you can also jump. Did you not? Here we go. Move you, can move you. Wonderful. Okay, you can also jump. And you can also dive. So this will be, what state should this be wrapped up in? I think this should be dive, but you're in the air. Does that matter? Yes, I think it does. Because if you are in the air, you can't get back up to your feet. Like imagine if you are Superman. I guess that's a terrible example. If you are shot out of a cannon, surely that's a better one. Shot out of a cannon, you're not really standing up when you're in the air. So we will put it as in-air diving. We will draw, because we have to draw it. Even if you forget what the key is to draw. It's D, apparently. What? Why is it just taking out of my clipboard? Why is it copy? What is happening? Okay, let's try that again. I'm losing my mind. I guess I'll just not use keyboard shortcuts anymore. Okay, it just works. I said that and then I just used them again. Okay. So we have in-air diving. This goes to there. And this is with, we'll say, oh, what happens if you try and dive backwards? Like you move. Uh-oh. Well, that's like a good thing that I'm thinking about it. So this is the problem I'm having. Or I foresee. You are moving, so you're in grounded moving, but you're looking backwards. Or you're moving like imagine you're walking backwards, right? What should happen when you try and dive? Because what will happen according to this is you'll dive backwards, which I don't know if that's what I want. Because it'll feel like your head kind of is looking the wrong, like you're an owl with big gauntlets and you're looking the wrong way. Your head's all the way turned around. I almost feel like you shouldn't be able to dive at all. If you're walking, if you're looking opposite to the direction you're moving. So secondary, if view, we're gonna do some vector math. Maybe I'll remember what this means. So if you're looking in roughly the same direction that you're moving, you'll be able to dive. I might have just like completely done that wrong, but that's okay. Even if I'm wrong, I'll remember what it was supposed to be, maybe. I don't know. And otherwise, I wonder if maybe you can clap. Maybe that's a good way to do it. Yeah, okay. That'll give you a way to clap while you're moving, which didn't exist before. Okay, so I will put that down here, I think. Oop. So this will be... Should there even be a whole state for this? I guess so, right? So this is, again, kind of going back to what I talked about having like the most spaghetti version of the state graph. Like you can see, we may have opportunities later once this whole graph is done and I'm kind of satisfied with it, or at least on the surface. It's hard to know whether it will be what I want until I actually, prototype it. But we'll have opportunities to like decompose this out. Like we have common elements, right? Like we have an in-air state. You can see my cursor, right? Yeah. We have an in-air state, but you're diving. We have 3 grounded states that are a little different. So there will be an opportunity to have separate state machines where it's like, you're grounded or in the air. Ground, air. And then maybe you have like holding, empty-handed. So instead of having one big state machine where the player's only in, one state at a time and then they move, do something, and then they're in a second state, you'll have multiple states where you can be in this one and in this one, or in this one and in this one. But it's really hard to do this separate state machines before you have the whole diagram, because you can easily come into something that like you can find mutually exclusive states, and then you're kind of screwed. You're screwed forever because you can't, and then you have to like write in conditionals like, oh, you can traverse to this state, but not if your other state machine is in this state. And I think it just gets a little unintuitive and nasty. So instead, we'll do the whole thing with specific states as we need. We can decompose it later. So you can get to clapping. Why are you blue? Okay. A few ways. Get it here. And we can also get to it from here. And we can move these. So it looks a little nicer. Okay. And is this, yep. Perfect. Okay, and then you're grouped. Okay. So grounded clapping, and we'll move, okay, we'll draw it first. Don't really need to draw it, to be honest, now that I think about it. Also, I don't know if I've ever drawn a stick person clapping. You like have to draw shoulders. That's crazy. Because there's no, like, if you're a stick man, like clapping exists because you have you know, you have distance here and you have flat surfaces here that can, like, you know, meet. And so you can, you know, move your arms to show that. But with a stick man, like, these are in the same spot and you have no elbows and you have no hands. So it's like, okay, anyway. The anatomy of stick people is not important. Okay. So we can do this. And then this transition has a condition on it. It's the opposite of the other one. Where if you are looking against the direction that you're moving in, then you'll clap instead. And then otherwise, you can just click secondary when you're standing still. Yes. Okay. So we have covered very little of the full diagram, but it's also getting, it's starting to get a little mushy. But that's okay. Okay, so this is, oh, right, I have to do, can I make you double-ended? Oh, let's go. Okay. Another thing is, what are you? You're an arc? Oh, I see. Okay, that's fine. These, no, I think I should do separate lines. I should do my due diligence. I am. I'll put these like this. Oh, that's not a, I don't have a transition here. We need to say what exactly causes each transition. Okay. And then we need, so what happens if is it going to be so ugly? I mean, like, kinda. Yeah, this is where it's gonna get so much worse. Okay. Move this here. Move this here. Okay. Put you here. Put you here. We're gonna move you a little bit to make room for this arrow. Okay. Okay, and then we just have this as, so when you clap, you'll just move back into the normal state after animation ends. I think we can maybe shorten that because we need all the space we can get, I think. Okay. That makes sense. And there will be probably room to kind of overlap this a little bit. So maybe the first half of the animation, you're in this state and then it moves you back. So you can, like, animation cancel a little bit. That's always satisfying. But I don't think I need to put that here. I don't think it's particularly relevant. Maybe, oh, okay, hold on. I'm thinking, I'm using my brain. We can use different colors. Can you, ooh, not really. I'll use a brighter one. So we can say blue, you gotta put a legend. Gotta put a legend. This will be like auto transition. Oh my god, why do you just put things on the canvas sometimes? There's a control that I'm not aware of. We can actually just do that. And then we don't have to do all the text. Oh my god, it's genius. How does he do it? That was a joke. Okay. And then we will continue making a legend. For player input. Can I save this? I can export. Oh, perfect. Okay, I can export it. Should have checked maybe earlier, but you know, only got so much time on this planet. Okay, so, and then you can land. It's not really an animation when you're in the air, but you know. I guess I should then clarify. Yeah. Well, I'm not super happy with that. I'll just type. Oh my god, I'm gonna lose it. What? Wait, when I middle click? Oh my god, just... Why would you do that? Okay, it's fine. I know what's happening now, at least. Put this here. And we can say land. Okay. So we have... Can you be in air diving? That is something I'm not sure how I feel about. I guess why not, right? Sure, just put it in there. Make you, that's, how do I, okay. Secondary. Okay, you can in-air dive. But is there a way to go from in-air? Yeah, why not? Why not? Surely it won't cause me problems in the future. There is an opportunity here to lock the player into a dive when they press it. I need to stop leaning my head. I realized this when I was looking at the footage of yesterday's stream. Is one, I was peeking the camera kind of bad, or peeking the microphone kind of bad. And the second is my head looks like so bulbous. Like my forehead looks so bulbous when I'm like resting my hand on it. Because the camera is like right on top of my monitor. And there is no better place for it. So I have to like actually sit up straight to look like a human. Which is always fun. Okay. Right, should players be locked into dives if they dive in midair? I'm not even sure if they should be able to dive. Because this is where you have to either like separate the game from real physics. Where like if you're flying in the air, you don't really have much of a choice in how you're oriented. I guess that's not true. You can do it while you're skydiving just because of the drag. Is that enough of a justification for my brain? Well, don't think about the justification. Think about the gameplay. Yeah, I would like to dive in midair. I think that you should be able to grab stuff in midair, right? It'd be pretty annoying if you could only grab stuff on the ground. So there should be a dive in midair. But should you be able to exit the dive? I don't see why not, right? Like, I don't really see if like a unusual or unfair advantage to being able to do that. Okay. Good enough for me. Okay. There is so much more here. I didn't even do any punching at all. I just did the grab. Okay, maybe we'll try and complete the grab. Dude, this is all gonna have to duplicate for holding stuff too. That's okay. So, this state has jump, movement, secondary. The only one we're missing is the primary, which is punch. This one has secondary, I guess, to be like literally complete. Can I do a cycle? Am I gonna have to draw that? I'm gonna make this smaller. There is technically a cycle here. What an arrow. Okay, and then we can... Something about these keyboard shortcuts aren't quite right. Group U and U, because you'll always move together. Okay, so this has all four... No, it doesn't. It doesn't have punch. This is also missing primary. This one we have actually no outward transitions yet. So what happens if you move? I mean, nothing special, I don't think. I don't know if moving will actually do anything. No, when you're diving, I don't think your movement keys do anything. Yeah. Okay. So movement is out. Dive key is assumed to be held because when you release it, you'll go just in air. Primary, we haven't done any yet, so there's no need to worry about it. We'll get there. Don't worry about it, we'll get there. And then jump does nothing. Yeah, I think that's okay for now. So we'll do like how do I want to do that? Because those don't change the state, but they also do nothing. I'm not sure how I want to represent that. Okay, to be complete, I think I'll try and define every transition for every input. I'm going to be honest, I don't think primary is doing anything in this one either. Just so we don't miss anything. So the only button left is secondary, but you're holding secondary. Yeah, okay. Well, I think you should only be able to do this. Okay, that kind of eases my concern. So the problem I saw is there is player transitions between two states with no sort of cooldown or timing component at all. So there's a possibility to like rapidly switch between I'm leaning on my hand again. There's opportunity to rapidly swap between the two states, which could cause problems. And the rest of these are, there is some sort of delay or out of player, like there's a delay out of the player's hands. I guess I'm missing transition here too. You're so small. Which is when your velocity is slow enough. I don't know the word for it. Just right, slow enough. Okay. I'll just type it. If I'm gonna specify for all of these anyway, I might as well. Okay. Dude, not being able to I don't know where this is saving. So I'm just gonna regularly save it. Can you see this? No. Okay. Just regularly save it. State player state machine. Okay. Okay, so let's keep it moving. Put another state. Why are your corners so sharp, man? What? Am I tripping? No, those are so sharp. What happened? What? What? I know I hit a keybind. There's almost certainly a keybind for round your corners. Yeah, okay, you can see these menus. Why? Is it because of this? Oh, that's odd. Okay. So this is grounded dive slide. We'll just call this slide, I think. There's no need to hold dive in there. Put you over here. You're grouped. Okay. And then we need to transition from you to you. This is just when you hit the ground. Oh, I'll just say grounded. Yes. Oh my god. Please. That is gotta be one of the most annoying shortcuts I've ever seen. Is immediately and instantly just paste text from your clipboard. Into just the nearest text field. Okay, I guess there's no option for it. Okay, what happens when you are sliding? Well, first of all, we can't do this without a picture, so. It is hard to draw, period. There's just something about it doesn't look quite right. Okay. Yeah, okay. This looks fine. Oh, no. I just realized there's actually more transitions that I missed. And it's interactions with, I even mentioned it before we started. is interactions with the environment and enemies. So if you're in the air diving, there's actually another state you can go to, which is how you get into the holding half of the diagram. Oh, what a nightmare. Okay. We're putting it in red. And we're just going to leave it as a reminder that there's more here. And then we're going to never look at it again. Hit enemy. Hit collide and or hit enemy will be red. Okay. So is there more? This should also have that. Because if you're close, like imagine you're standing still right in front of an enemy and you clap, then you should have, then you should grab them. So there will also be, and then this will go into the terrifying, like, holding something part of the, well, no, this is just a whole different state, isn't it? This wouldn't go here, this would go, no, I think that's okay. Yeah. And then we can, okay. This points to the scary half of the diagram that I'm not going to look at yet. And then none of these, oh no, there's also states for when you get hit by stuff. This is why you don't just think about games. This is why you actually have to work on it. I don't think I want to do that yet. There's also a world where there is no enemy like CC, or like getting hit doesn't actually there is a world where you never get hit, where there is no like enemy aggression, except for maybe those like cutscene kills. That's an interesting one. I'll have to think about that. Because if this is trying to be closer to a rhythm game, then it's less important for you to dodge enemies, because the whole goal is to kill every enemy. And it, like, having to dodge might ruin your, like, routing. But then again, you would have to, I suppose, just route around enemy attacks. I think it's unreasonable to just say that the player will never get hit. I think there's a lot of stuff you can do design-wise that is around like, oh, you need to be cautious around this enemy. There's a whole nother layer of like player, I don't know, psychology that's like, oh, I can never be hit. I can never die. Like, I don't know. I think there is more there that I need to think about. So we'll just leave a note here. Think about enemy damage. Enemy, think about how enemies fight back. And then we'll make this. Oop. I hate that I can't use keyboard shortcuts. Put this in orange, maybe. Okay. Hold an object half of state diagram. These are to-dos. And then, I don't know, I guess I'll put an arrow. Why not? Okay. It's done. State. Okay, wonderful. Let's see. I need a quick water break. Hold on. I turn off my camera because it just saved me the effort. There's just no need to put you through the experience of like looking straight into my mouth is the thing. Like the camera, it's you know. You get it, I'm sure. Okay. So what else? What else? I just keep going. So this will also go into the fabled holding half. And then when you are sliding, you are presumably holding dive. So, oh no. Okay, I've been doing this kind of linearly. Oh no. Wait, are you not connected to this? Oh, now you are. Okay. You're not connected to this either. Does that detach you? Oh, that's so silly. Okay. I've been doing this kind of linearly, which I realize now is a problem, because this state needs to go all the way over to the grounded moving state. And the grounding still walk, because if you slide all the way to a stop, no, you'll get up and you'll be, oh, Jesus. Okay. Okay, I can do this. You just need to not panic is the first thing. And the second thing is to panic. What is this? Okay. First of all, this needs to be like here. You need to move this over yonder. And then this needs to go like way down here. What is this? What is this? I don't know if... I don't think this is a public session. What is this? Is that just a shape? Or am I losing my mind? I can't draw like this, so I don't know what that is. Okay, just a little bit of losing your mind on a Thursday morning. I had to check. I was gonna lie and say like, I didn't have to check what day it was, but I had to check. I mean, I'm streaming at like 10 a.m. I'm sure you could puzzle out that I don't have a job. Okay. Grounded, and then let's shove you to this side. We'll shove you to this side. Okay, we'll move you here. I think I'm going to start putting transitions over the line if they're close. Okay. Especially if it's like a single transition like this. Oh, but you could totally go into the air again. Yeah, hold on. If you just happen to be airborne. That's the wrong color. Okay. If you penguin slide down a half pipe and then go flying, brother, you're in the air. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. But that's not really a player input. More so as like a consequence of the environment. Okay, so grounded slide can go to grounded moving if you let go. Okay, yeah. Okay. Put you here, and then you here. Okay. What did I just do? You're grouped? Why is that? None of these have their arrows. Their arrows grouped with them. What is happening here? How do I ungroup? Ungroup. Oh, Control Shift G. Okay. Okay, that's better. What looks best? Put it here. Uh-oh. Getting a little spaghetti, but this was expected. Maybe just keep that there. Move you, and then put some text. Slide to a stop. No, you should have to release. I think it's kind of funny to be able to just like lay on the ground. I don't think it really costs me anything, like design wise. Like, oh no, whatever shall I do? The player is just laying there. I don't think I really mind that. Yeah. Okay. 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 Any other states? I haven't done any punching states, which is terrifying. Because this is already kind of a mess. What if I do these? Maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, this would have been a disaster in like an image editor. I'm glad I did not start this there. Okay. What else can you do in grounded slide? So moving doesn't do anything. Jumping. Maybe jumping will do the same thing as releasing secondary. Or what if you let the player do like a little hop off the ground? Like not the worm, but like a pseudo worm. I don't know dance moves very well. Surely, what is it? The Fazbear flop? No, that's a sports. That's an Olympic high jump thing. I think we can just chill with this for now and just say you can't really move when you're sliding. That seems fine. Okay, this is movement, jump, and also probably primary. I don't see much that the player will be doing. Oops, I'll do a quick export just to make sure I don't lose all of my progress. Can I also export like this? Edit? Export as? No. Oh, download. Oh, there we go. Okay. Player, because I do this, I try my best to not show my bank account on stream. So I'm doing this in like an incognito window. So all of these things will just be lost when I'm done if I don't save them to my files. Okay. So these states I think are technically complete. They have all of the major controls. They have movement, jump, primary, secondary. Movement, jump, primary, secondary. In air, we're missing primary. Grounded moving, we're missing primary. Grounded walk, we're missing primary. You. I don't know what to do about you. I guess you also have things you are. Transitions. Moving, I don't think changes this. You can be like moving. Like I don't think this state will prevent you from walking around, but it won't change what state you're in, if that makes sense. Movement, primary won't change anything. Can you jump? No, it makes so much sense for you to be able to jump. Well, secondary doesn't do anything, I don't think. Shoot, you can totally jump. What happens when you jump and you're clapping? I guess you'll be in air clapping. Christ, okay. No, I want, oh, no. Okay. It's okay, we're chilling. Everything is fine. In air. No need to panic yet. We haven't seen true spaghetti. I think. Okay, you gotta give the little stickman shoulders if he's gonna clap. And then how do you know he's in air? Well, it's easy. You draw little lines above him. Perfect. Group those. Let's get these out of the way. And then we'll put you here. And then we'll move you here. And then honestly, I should stop putting these arrows, like manually defining where these arrows point. But you know. Okay. And then this should be over to the right more to make some room for a new transition. Okay, New transition time. Go from here all the way up here. And then we pull you out. So you are a little cleaner. And then you can go back, because if you clap while you're in the air, you could technically be grounded again. So yeah, I think this spaghettification is kind of expected. Once this is complete, like I said, we can decompose this out. Like maybe this grounded and in air, we can take out into just a Boolean. That's like, oh, are you in the air or not? I wonder then, is a better way to do this, because it's only going to get more complicated, is to do like expected behavior in each state. Like, what can the player do in each state? Like, what code needs to run? Like, for these states, the player can like use WASD to move around. In these states, like the player can strafe in the air. And so we'll use the same code to like handle player movement between these actually 3 states. Well, it'll be more once we have holding stuff, but we don't talk about this section of the graph yet. It'll be worthwhile to do. And there is a part of me that's like, once you get close enough, just start writing the code for it. Like, there's no need to model what the behavior would look like. You can just like think about it and then write code for it. So maybe I guess you just do the rest of the diagram first. Okay. I do love talking instead of working. It's nice. Okay, get you. And then you can do this because your animation is. Okay. Can you clap in midair? You should be able to. No. Okay. The reason I think you should is, for one, like, why not? If clapping is going to be used as a mechanic, like, oh, you can aggro enemies or, make a sound, why shouldn't you be able to do it in midair? Yeah, okay. I think this is another benefit of doing this, right? There's really no reason I would ever think about that unless I were kind of forced to. In a context like this, where it's like, oh, I have 2 states that I can see. Should there be a transition between them? So the way I think I should do this is you clap if you are both, or maybe either not holding any movement keys, or you are looking kind of like down here. You're looking in a direction against the way you're moving. So either no WSD or looking against movement. Looking opposite movement velocity. I'll do that. That's much clearer, I think. Secondary, if either. And then this will be different as well, because this will be if WASD. Yeah. And looking toward velocity. So there is... Isn't there a missing case here? Like, so no WASDA always goes here. If WASDA, movement, if you're moving... No, I think I'm covering an extra case, which is fine. Because if you're moving, it'll fall through here. It'll go through here. And you're looking against your velocity, it'll clap instead of diving. Or it's supposed to. Which is right. Okay, that's fine. Okay. So you have all of your inputs covered. You have, whoops. Oh, I didn't even put the label. Are you on medium? Yes, okay. You have all your inputs covered. You have movement, primary, secondary, and jump. You have secondary, and we're missing some here. We have, dude, I love drawing circles. I'm not very good at it, but something about it. These will do nothing. Okay, can you group those? Are you grouped? Yes. Okay, so you are complete. Oh, but there's... Okay, you're missing another one. Don't panic. Just put the arrow off into the distance and think about it later. What a disgusting arrow. Oh my god, okay. Scoot this over a little bit. I guess this can also be... I didn't think about it, but you can also just fall like off of an edge. So this is not just jump. No. No, no, no. Okay. Yeah, there's more here. Jump. Maybe you just get rid of jump as a label there. Because I suppose you could press the jump button, but if there's an object over your head, then you would, there's no room to jump at all. So you wouldn't transition the state at all. I don't know. What do I look like? Some kind of game designer? I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. So this guy's state is complete, I think. As far as I can see, which is not particularly far. We have enemy interaction. This one is complete. We have enemy interaction. Oh, we didn't actually label it. I need to be bigger. What was that? Link code. You can bold things. Cool. Okay. I need to use the bathroom again. Goodbye. Okay. We are good to go. I always forget what I'm doing when I walk through. I have to walk through 3 door frames to go to the bathroom. Yeah. No, it's 3. And every door frame is like a reset point for your brain. Okay. We're ignoring the scary enemy half of the graph. There's no punching yet, which is okay. Okay. We're missing a couple. Do you not have... Right, okay. Yeah, we're missing a couple transitions here. Movement and jump. Don't do anything here. But otherwise we have primary, which we're ignoring for a moment, and then secondary, which we have defined. And then jumping has no enemy interactions at all. So we're good there. I'm actually going to draw grounded stuff real quick. Oops. Okay. So is it time to do punching? No. No, I'm so scared. The graph is gonna get so nasty. Because there's left and right punching, and there's also charge, which has interactions with jump. Okay. That's okay. You knew it was going to be overwhelming. That's the whole point. That was the whole, like, even... Where was it? Oh, no. No? Not you. Did I delete it? Yeah, I definitely did. That's a shame. The whole idea was have a complicated and satisfying toolkit to give to the player so your environments can be simpler. And they can just use their cool tools with their environment that might be a little repetitive in a game without such a complicated tool set. Okay. We're doing primary for all of these. Okay. Grounded still. Yeah, I'll have... Should there be a difference between punching when you are standing still and punching when you are if you're moving? But that's not really a state. Much of a state difference. Kind of like how for secondary, like if you're standing still, you go to punch should just be the same both ways. Yeah, okay. So my grounded state is kind of in the middle of it's like a meatball. So that'll be fun to get rid of. Okay, so we have grounded, right, punch. Okay. Just look at it. You don't have to commit to it yet. We'll even, like, move it up here so we can't look at the rest of it. And then we'll see what happens here. What the heck are you doing? Okay, and then we have a couple things. we have grounded charging, which I was thinking about a little more. The original vision for charging was we had like well, you should be above the text. Why did you just stop drawing there? You would hold down primary and it would charge kind of like a Doomfist. I've been saying that, but I don't know if you know what that means. And it'll give my brain a little time to cool down. So let's look at a... Is there a good... How do you even look this up? Looking for like a GIF? A GIF? A GIF of Doomfist? Can you just Google that and will it give you something? These are all images. These are all like third person. That's crazy. There's not a single one just of someone playing the video game. Wow. I know you cannot see this, but what if you just go to YouTube? I don't think I can do that, actually. I also don't know. Okay, we're fine. Anyway, I think my brain is starting to burn out a little bit. It's been, yeah, an hour 40. That tracks. So this will probably be, if not the end, close to it. Right, okay. I never finished my thought. That's how you know I'm getting a little fuzzy. Is did not finish the thought. Originally, the idea was, oh, you hold primary and you start charging. But something that occurred to me this morning was when the player like clicks the mouse, how would the game know if you want to punch or charge? Like you would essentially have to say, like, okay, we can either punch when you release the button, if you've been holding it for not very long, or charge if they keep holding it like beyond what you expect. Which I think, yeah, that is how Doomfist plays. Like you punch when you release the button. But the problem is that means there is a time from when you press to when you like release, right? For if you're intending to charge your punch, you're gonna hold it and then you'll like release it and you'll punch, whatever. That'll work, regardless. But if you just intend to punch, wait, hold on, go back. So if you want to charge a punch, you click and hold, and then when you release, at the same time, also just, these don't do anything. At the same time that you release, you actually punch. So there's no latency. Oh, there actually is. Hold on, a reason to have this timeline. We'll just say 100 milliseconds maybe. So if you want to charge punch, there will be no latency when you release the button, right? You click, you hold, you as a player are intending to charge punch, so you know you're supposed to hold it. and then you release and you expect a charge punch and you do. Now I'm just like, brain's moving faster than you can talk. Or maybe the other way around. Anyway, there's no latency between when the player expects it to happen and when it actually happens. But if we look at a normal punch, maybe how long is a click? How long am I clicking? Do you think there's a website for that? It literally just measures how long you're clicking. Surely, right? Well, I gotta wait 10 seconds for my search engine to search, which is insane, by the way. Click here to start playing. I need to mute this page. It looks like it's... This is not what I want. Oh my god. It's calling me a sloth. That's kind of rude. No, I don't want clicks per second. There's so many sites that measure your clicks per second. I just want to know how long I'm clicking for. But whatever. Say you click for... I'm going to time it. I guess you can time a double click. I don't know. I'm getting distracted. So for a normal punch, you click here and you expect a punch. But it doesn't actually happen until you release. This is when the punch happens. So if you punch on release, the charge punch will happen as soon as you expect it to. But your punch will happen later than you expect it to. So I don't really know how much of a problem this will be, but I know both Hollow Knight and Silksong are, I'm sure other games have done it as well, but what they do is they will, when you are holding to charge, they'll just throw out a punch. Like in Hollow, you'll start charging. And then you can, only like charge attack or whatever. So, yeah. If you just punch as soon as you press the button, and then if they continue to hold it, you charge, and then you let them release the punch, you kind of remove that latency. The downside is you kind of have this potentially awkward first punch. But I think most of the time, it won't matter, because if you are aiming to send a charge punch, throwing out this punch doesn't change the timing of it, for one. And for two, because this duration is the same. And for two, if you're trying to charge, it's not that likely you're standing in front of an enemy where punching is bad, but charge punching is good. Like for an example, let's say you're in front of an enemy, boop, 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 within punch range. So this guy's got long arms. You can punch this guy. Pow. You're in range to do so. But you want to charge punch him. And so you hold down click and you accidentally punch this guy. In what circumstances would that be bad? I guess if charge punching gives you something that normal punching doesn't, which I don't think will. I think this is one of those things that you just have to try. So this will have to be a question to answer when prototyping. How does it feel to essentially do punch, charge after punching. Hold on. Brain is formatting the conclusion. How does it feel to punch on pressing the button always and then hold still charges and release still does a charge punch versus punching on releasing the button where you'll have a slight delay on normal punches because you have to release the button first. I just don't like that. I just don't like having to wait to release the button. It just feels bad. So I'll just run with the assumption that I'll do the Hollow Knight charge style. So, okay. You can go from a left punch, you can go to a right punch, and you can go from either of these to charging. Oh no, and then there's, oh Christ, okay. Okay. Grounded, charged, right punch. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to decompose this. These are not staying as independent states. Because this is ridiculous. Should there be a charged? I'm tempted to separate charging from individual fists entirely. So it'll essentially always be a charged right punch. Is that bad? What do you lose? What does the player lose? I don't know that they really lose anything, to be honest. I think it might have, depending on how it's skinned. Like if you're like imagine you had a gauntlet that would visibly charge. How would that change the interactions planned for throwing when you're charging and uppercutting when you're charging? Because those are two variants that rely upon the charge state. Like if you press jump when you're charging, you'll do an uppercut. And when you press grab when you're charging, you'll throw something if you have it. How does that visually change? Well, uppercut would lose. You could not uppercut with your left fist. Does that matter? I'm gonna say no. Because regardless of how you charge, the cooldown of your right fist will always be at 0. Right? Because the plan was to have like a left, a right punch. What an R! Wow. Okay. Anyway, the plan was to have a left fist and a right fist. If this one was off cooldown, you'll punch with it and it'll go on cooldown. And if you want to punch like, we're just gonna do a timeline here. So if you want to punch like here, it'll use the right fist and that'll go on cooldown. And then if you want to punch here, it'll use the left fist. Oops. It'll use the left fist and go on cooldown. And then if you want to punch here, it'll use, the right fist. But if you want to punch here, you won't be able to because there's no fist available, essentially. So there's no fist off cooldown. So this cooldown, I don't think is very long. Because how long? It really doesn't take that long to like punch and like reset your arm. Maybe like a second or less. We'll just call it a second for the sake of this. But charging your fists, I think, will take longer than a second. So the next question is, what happens if you release charge before a second passes? Nothing. I guess nothing is the right answer. Or maybe not the right answer, but one answer. Because honestly, sometimes you just hold down the button on accident. I do that sometimes. Get excited or stressed and you just hold down the punch button. I hope I'm not too quiet leaning back in my chair. So if you are charging, but you don't charge long enough, then nothing happens. And if the minimum charge time, because I wanted there to be like a range of distances that you travel, like, dude, what a nice bar graph. Like if you charge for 1 second, this should not have been a bar graph, but whatever. If you charge for 1 second, then, you know, you get this level of power and distance. Then you go, you know, this far. So if the minimum charge time is longer than the cooldown period of a fist, then your right fist will essentially always be available. Because if you punch cooldown, first of all, if you're punching with your right hand to charge, it'll take a second for your cooldown to finish, but it'll also take a second for the minimum charge time. So by the time you have a valid charge punch available, you will always have your right fist available. And similar thing for left fist. If you can punch with your left fist, that means the right fist was on cooldown. So there must be less than a second left on its timer. So by the time a second passes and you have a charge punch available, your fist available will be your right fist. So with this, it is reasonable to say that your charge punch will always be your right fist, which I think is fine. Maybe even good, because your left fist can hold things. So that'll be more consistent. So what that means is we can get rid of this. Get rid of that. We got rid of a state. Woo! Oh, no. Do I want to keep this? No, it's okay. It's not. I guess it's not. It's like a visual non-proof. Okay. Charge, punch, always right. And. Okay. We can group these. And then. So charging can, I think this is important to write down, return to, excuse me, just grounded. Maybe I'll just call it, I don't know. It can return to these. Okay, so there's actually like a bunch of states that it could be. So what I'm gonna do to represent that is put a bunch of states that it could be, and just say that like not charging punch previous state. Okay. And then we'll just group these. This is what we like to call in the business cutting corners. So release primary, second charge time. And this is, of course, up for change. There's no reason it has to stay a second. Okay. And then we have this state, which is release primary, and second charge time. Okay. Okay. There's actually more. What the heck? Gets me every time. What if I put the text in the box? He's a freaking genius. It doesn't fit, man. What's the point? Everything is always messed up. Okay. Mostly because I don't want to draw these, and I don't think differentiating between a stick figure's left and right hand will be all that helpful. Okay, so we'll do... There's actually a number of states that could be here as well. So we'll just do this. It's kind of like, what's it called? Multiplexing? That's not narrow. And then these are punch available states. Oh yeah. This is the spaghetti I like. This doesn't have to be a previous state either. Okay. Brain is just about empty. So what I'm going to do is put some reminders for next time. I might continue this just next time on stream, or I might work on this off. I don't know. Depends. We need to do jump. Any charge goes to stop that. This goes to uppercut. Wait, I can just click twice to type? No. No way, I don't have to. I'm so sad. Okay. What's happening here? So uppercut, fist. I don't know if this is left or right, because if it's with any charge, technically your right fist could be on cooldown, and that's annoying. That's a whole nother. I'm not sure about any charge. That seems like it could be a problem. And then there's, what else was there? My memory's failing me. There's a whole dimension for holding things. There's in-air charging, but I don't know if those... I don't know how... important those are right now. Okay, brain ain't working anymore. So we're gonna save this so I don't lose like 2 hours of progress. We're gonna export or download this. I don't know why they didn't call it export when they have an export button. We're gonna delete that because it doesn't matter. Okay. Good progress today. We have a fragment of the state machine for the player. Okay. I'm done for today. I need to eat and let my brain recover from working for 2 hours. The newest modern generations be like, okay, anyway. Thanks for watching. If you did, thanks for listening. If you didn't, I will see you next time. Oh wait, I can do my... Oh wait, I need like a stream ending. I don't have that yet, but for now you can